So, okay, like I said, we have a dream team of women here who I'm extremely honored to be sharing the stage with. The first person I want to bring up, and I want you all to welcome them. I'm going to talk about them individually, bring them up here because they deserve their own praise. She played everybody's favorite succubus. Wait for it. And the second best Kevin. Please welcome Anna Silk.
Is it on? Yes.
All right. She's the heart and soul of this show. Her humor and fierce dedication to the show and fandom make us all proud to be Fandras. Please welcome Emily Andras. All right.
Not a thing.
She might be a half angel on screen, but she's a full angel in real life. She's a powerful force for good in this world and in this fandom. Please welcome Dominique Provost-Chalkley. All right, she swaggered onto your screens and into our hearts in season 1. But it's the love and kindness she shows every day that make us all proud to be fans for life. So please welcome Kat Barrell. Complex characters need an actor who can carry that weight in a unique way. As Willa, she may not have been our favorite Earp sister, but in real life, she's stolen our hearts. So please welcome Natalie Krill. So we're going to start right now, and I'm going to start this panel a little differently because I'm going to ask the audience a question, which I kind of asked already, but I'm going to ask it again. Quick show of hands. This is their first EarpCon?
Yay! Oh my God!
So
Wow!
it's also Anna Silk's first EarpCon.
Yay!
How has it been so far?
It's been amazing. I was just saying a few minutes ago, actually, that I've been to a handful of conventions, and there's so many people and so many moving parts, and it's kind of chaotic. You feel like you get on a treadmill, and then you just fly for the weekend. But this is so intimate and very special, and so it's a real testament to you guys and your amazing show. But also to you guys, it's a really fun, warm, special weekend. So thank you for having me as a guest.
So Emily, I live the life I choose, found family. The fact that you alone get to decide for yourself who you are. These are all themes that are found all throughout shows that you are a part of. And to be honest, I don't think many people tackle those issues enough. So what is it about those types of themes that seem to resonate with you enough that you keep bringing them back in a great way?
Well, first of all, because this is the Women in Purgatory panel, I'm just going to fix my bra. It's really annoying me. I feel like... Sorry.
talking about.
They just really like bras. That was all for bras. That was a big applause for bras.
Who's taking off their bra?
I am. I'm so sick of it. It's Sunday. I feel like we can take our bra off.
Oh, sorry.
1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. I feel adjusted, and I feel I feel like I'm just really drawn to how we define ourselves. I feel like I've constantly struggled against how I saw myself when I was younger versus how I try to see myself now, and where I grew up and how other people treated me. I'm eternally drawn to the plight of the underdog, and I think at heart we're all underdogs. So I just love people coming into their own and knowing their own power and their own truth and their own hope. I think we only get one go around as far as I know, and I want everyone to make the most of it. But I feel like I got to learn that through other amazing writers like Michelle Lovretta, who created Lost Girl. I mean, she really deserves the credit for I Will Live the Life I Choose, but I feel like I just absorbed that into my very soul. I just love those themes, and I see it with all of you every day with this fandom. Sunday, first cry of the con. It's because my bra is uncomfortable. No. I just see everyone, like so many of you come up to me and say, like, I just, hopefully the show gave me the strength to be who I am, or go after what I want, or declare who I am, or not use a label to declare how I am. So I feel like it really resonates in particular with our audience. But what an honor to be able to write a show with this kind of themes, but also so much fun, so many jokes, so much making out. So thank you.
Now, I know, Emily, you've talked about this, about in particular the scene in season 3 where it was Mercedes, Winona, Kevin,
Yes.
and Waverly, and they were all together, and there were 4 women who were completely different talking about saving the world.
Headcanon too, I feel like Willow was like in the outside window, just looking in, like, so don't worry, yeah. I just think, actually Dom really helped me realize that, because I think you said to me, that was such an incredible scene to be with 4 women talking about 4 different things too, just like the way we have real life conversations. We're all kind of listening to each other, but talking about different things. And I was like, God, these 4 women are so different. And again, crying number 2, I feel like these 4 actresses are so different and so extraordinary in all their different ways. I've been so privileged to work with such amazing people, from Lost Girl to Winona, so it just felt like, God, God, I meant it. No, I just mean it. I just mean, like, it was a very powerful scene, and it was such a little scene, but just to see you guys all know your characters so well and have different goals and hopes and still have vaginas. Good job, guys. Presumably, yes. Well, I love that scene. Thank you.
Now, Emily and Melanie, I'm glad you're here, by the way.
I actually didn't know that it started.
Oh, that's all right. It was mostly just bras.
Melanie, you're the lead of obviously Winona Earp. We all know this and love this. You're amazing. Anna, you were the lead of Lost Girl. Can you guys tell us what
Can
it's?
we have an arm wrestle?
Yeah. Who would win? No, I think, obviously playing a lead is extremely, it's a lot, I would imagine, to carry a show and to really, and I know you have an amazing supporting cast and you've got the crew and you've got the writers and everybody, but can you guys talk a little bit about what it's like to be the lead of something that brings this much joy to this many people? Sorry. Anna, you could start.
Okay. Well, I talked a little bit about it just a little while ago, actually, at the meet and greet, so forgive me if I'm going to repeat myself for those people. But, well, I will say I think being the lead of a 1-hour drama is probably one of the most challenging jobs in television, for sure, and one of the most rewarding. But for me, it was my first time leading a show. I also personally value my own happiness above all else. And so I wanted to create an environment that I wanted to go to every day. So, oh my God, why am I going to cry?
It happens. We all do on scandals. It's very good.
Is it your bra? Is it your
I'll
bra?
stuff these
Yeah.
back in. To me, I wanted to be happy every day, thank you. And so I tend to be a positive person, a little bit sunny disposition that I get made fun of for quite a bit. But I wanted to know that everyone was valued on set. I knew how hard everybody was working. And I just wanted to show up every day and be happy. So I tried to create an environment that was creatively supportive for people, that everyone, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all creative people on that set, regardless of the job we're doing. We're working in this industry to be creative. So everyone had a voice. I wanted everyone to feel respected. We didn't have every moment wasn't sunny, but for me, down in the trenches of every day on set, I wanted to be positive and happy and open to what everyone had to bring every day. That was the most important thing for me.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I felt, when we started, I didn't want it to feel like too much of a hierarchy or something, because the way it's built is sort of not our show, just any show, like the industry in general is sort of built that way, and I guess it needs to be probably, but I wanted it to feel, I wanted people to come on the show and be happy to be there and then talk about it positively. Like, I love when I hear people talk about the show. I'm sure you had this too, where they're like, oh my God, everybody wants to work on that show. They say it's so fun and the people are so nice. And I think when you have that kind of environment, then everybody wants to do their best work, as well as the crew. I think the crew loves the challenge. When Emily comes up with something, they just really seem to, they just say, what the fuck? And then they do it. And so I wanted to do my part to, contribute to that type of set the stage sort of thing as best I could.
Well, I walked onto your set and it was there. Good job.
Can I say one thing and then I'll just shut up?
No,
I'm just going to say one more thing and then I'm going to leave. I have been in this industry for 87 years, and I have worked on a lot of sets, and I really will cry. I cannot tell you how extraordinary these two women have been as number ones on a show, and how hard it is in this industry, particularly as women, to lead a show. And their relentless professionalism and the tone they set on our sets is extraordinary. And I've worked with all sorts of people, and honestly, it doesn't matter what happens next to me because I have been blessed with two incredible leading ladies. Honestly, you two are just, and I gotta tell you, Anna Silk was a pretty hard act to follow. And you brought it, bitch. You brought it.
Anna, I'm sure I've told you this, but Tim Rozon is always like, Anna Silk, best number one ever. Oh, you're good too. Always. He does it all the time, and I love it. This is true.
Tim also good.
Yeah.
Tim also.
Tim also good.
So Kat, last year, oh no, last year on our panel, we had the wonderful Megan Follows, who said one of her favorite quotes from Nelson Mandela was, "Our greatest fear isn't that we're inadequate, it's that we're powerful beyond measure." However, I know that we've all struggled with days where we didn't feel adequate enough, and I know in the panel last year you said that you even felt sometimes that you weren't worthy of being there. And I had a couple Earpers who have asked me, what advice would you give to someone who was struggling with a day like that, where they didn't feel worthy to be here? Because we all know how, if you guys can struggle with it, it gives us hope, I think, that we can get past it too?
I think it's so important to find your tribe. I think this community is a perfect example of that. I think on the days where we can't pull ourselves out of the hole, it's so important to have people who can sort of do it for us or give us a bit of a leg up. Because I think sometimes you just got to get out of your own head. I know for me, I can spend a little too much time in there and spiral pretty quickly, and it often takes me just getting out or, and I think asking for help too. It's a lesson, took me a really long time to learn, especially as someone who I'm generally sort of looked at in a lot of my relationships as sort of the solid one and the one who maybe has the answers or has it more figured out, which is a lovely place to be, but can also feel hard sometimes because sometimes you're like, I don't know, but you're coming to me for help, and I feel like I'm lost too. So I think being able to ask for help is a very powerful sort of lesson I've learned as I got a little bit older too. Yeah, find your tribe. That's my thing. Just get out of your own head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Natalie, this is your first U.S. Earp-Con. How's it going for you so far?
It's going well.
I know, seriously, I know.
In the opening panel, you said that if Willow were ever to come back, she thought she'd be kind of remorseful, regretful of some of the decisions that she made in season 1. What do you think that would stem from? Do you think there's one thing in particular, or is it just overall making the wrong choices? Just overall, everything.
Overall. Yeah, no, I think obviously Willow is very confused and also feeling very alone and hurt. And I think in the afterworld, she's had a lot of time to think about that. And I think really deep down, all she ever wanted was her family, but always felt left out and singled out and kind of alone. So it can be confusing to feel that.
I think as fans, we would absolutely love it because we love you. And one of the things that I know resonates so much with the fans, and it's a true testament to Emily and her writing staff, but also to the actors who bring it to life, is the whole idea of brokenness, that none of us are actually really broken, because to be broken, it implies that you're not able to be fixed. And you can, there's a redemption, or anything can happen. You define your own life. And especially with Winona, we've seen kind of some of that come full circle with her. So can you talk about why that whole, sorry, I'm not like this idea of you didn't want your lead, and you didn't want any of these characters actually to be these perfect round, they're all extremely complex, there's lots of gray. The whole show lives in the gray.
Right. Yeah, I don't know anyone who doesn't live in shades of gray, except maybe Beyonce, who's perfect. It's funny because it's the thing I say, which I think is a Jane Fonda quote, which is do no harm but take no shit. I think you should try to live your life knowing that other people are going through their own stuff, but you still get to protect yourself from damage and toxicity and people who would wish you harm, And I think that's such an important lesson to learn, and it's such a hard tightrope walk to kind of know to respect yourself and take care of yourself and know your own worth and what you are worthy of, which is self-respect and other people's respect while also maybe cutting people slack when they've had a bad day, when they maybe are fighting a tentacle. It's Wednesdays. But I just think you see so much of this on this talented cast's face. You just see that struggle all the time, even back to season 1, the choice when Winona has to shoot Willa, just the pain that Scrofano brings is just so magnificent, kind of that conflict, and that it's really a 51-49% choice, and I think so much of life is like that, and finding the strength to go on after these choices that were so difficult is really tough and interesting. At the same time, Willa doesn't think she's the bad guy, I think. Willa thinks she's right. She thinks she's the heir. And, one thing we don't talk about, which is we don't have to get into, is I think Willa was an extremely abusive, relationship. That was kind of her protector was also kind of her abuser. Oof, we're really getting into it. But I love all those themes, and I think it's really complicated. And again, what a privilege to be on a show with so many female characters that you can kind of explore those shades of gray and those choices. So yeah, thank you.
So we have some questions, some pre-selected questions, so I'll get them to come up. But before, I'll kind of I'll bring it to a lighter place now because, Melanie's like, whew. No, so this question is for Anna and Natalie because the others have already answered. If you had to fight... If you had to fight one giant horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses, which would it be?
A horse-sized duck for me.
One duck.
One thing.
Ducks are wimps.
So you're fighting the giant duck?
Yeah.
So we got 2 for Team Giant Duck. All right, where's our question, people? Okay.
This mic is taller than me.
I feel you, sister.
Thank you. Hi, thank you guys for coming out. We really appreciate you guys and for doing this show. My question is for all of you. The women of Purgatory are strong, some of the strongest women we've seen in television in a long time. We don't see it often enough in media. So, deep down, what do you think inside them allows them to find that inner strength?
Can you just say that last part again?
I'm sorry.
No, there's the last sentence.
I said, what inside them allows to find their inner strength? What drives it?
The characters?
Yeah, the characters. I'm sorry.
No, just to clarify.
I think for Winona, it's maybe a feeling of redemption and righting the wrongs from the past and sort of going trying to move forward from where she's come from instead of to keep living keep making mistakes.
What about her love for her sister? Would that be a major driving force for her too?
For the love of her sister?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think that goes into the redemption thing and trying to make it up to Waverly and Willa, who's gone, and I think it all sort of comes back to Winona wanting to do better for them and for Alice now, yeah.
I think Willa's really trying to find some sense of approval, some kind of validation from someone. She's confused and she just feels like she's trying to do the right thing, but I think really deep down it's approval.
I think for Nicole, it's to make sure that no one ever feels left behind or abandoned like she was. So I think a lot of what drives her is to sort of her moral compass to do the right thing is a no man left behind sort of policy that let's save everyone, which leads into what she's kind of done professionally with her life.
I think Waverley's Northern Star of being the best version that she can be and bringing the light into the world is so strong that I think it ignites a fire in her to prove other people wrong when they try and tell her otherwise. And that paired with wanting to support and help all of the people that she loves around her gives her an intense driving force. Yeah.
Well, Kevin, I don't know. I mean, okay, the best way I can answer this really is, you know, as actors, we're always trying to remember our point of view. So, and fighting for it. So, I feel like with any character, you just try to remember what that is and always push towards it. Because we all have one. Why did I pick a horse-sized duck? I don't know, but it's my point of view, and I'm going to fight for it till the end.
Hi guys. So what does it mean to each of you to be on a show where the characters are so unapologetically themselves?
What does it mean to be on a show
Where the characters are just so like unapologetic about who they are?
It definitely puts a stark contrast on when you're working on stuff where they're not. Yeah. It becomes harder to do less fine work or a different type of work, perhaps. It just makes you, like we were saying earlier today, such an appreciation to get back to those scripts in January, because it's just like there's so much there, and it's such a satisfying, for myself, it's such a satisfying experience. It makes you feel like you're doing very special work, very unique work.
And I mean, I definitely don't want to wait to the end of the panel to mention that the only reason that you guys are here and even asking these questions is because of this lady right here.
One more?
Guys, I could not do it by myself, okay? Honestly, and lots of you got here on your own, I'm assuming. I didn't, but thank you. I honestly feel lucky. I say it all the time. Like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime cast and a once-in-a-lifetime crew. My writers are amazing. Editors, producers, directors, networks, honestly. And you, thank you for getting it and showing my bosses that what we do is valued and letting us make more.
But you're
so
the one
you.
who put them all together.
I did. I know how to pick people smarter than me to make me look good. So, I'm very good at that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you too. Very much.
Well, since we're talking to Emily, let's ask the next question. You recently tweeted out a political pic with the phrase, "the fiercest reminder that women don't have to shut up and sit to get a place at the table." And so when I saw that tweet, I'm like, God, that just screams Winona Earp to me, and I realized why.
Do you think Nancy Pelosi will come on the show?
Is
she busy?
We could get it done. I mean, you know.
Get it done.
It reminded me at the end of season 3, Bolshar's Table. And it is a Bolshar's Table full of revenant men and Mercedes, who had to basically change who she was and compromise who she was just to get a seat at that table. But you didn't write Winona that way. Winona jumped on top of the table. And
I feel like I feel like that was probably a Mel choice, knowing her. No, in a good way. I think that was an awesome Mel choice, I'm sure.
That was definitely scripted.
This theme of like toppling the patriarchy is something we don't really see shown the way you chose to. Now, was that a conscious choice in writing that we're going to put her on top of the table that women can't seem to sit, or was it, or am I just?
Mel loves to be on top. We know that. I consciously don't remember if it was scripted that way or if you just made the very wise choice
Babe,
to
I
jump
did not
on the
jump
table.
on a fucking table. No.
I think you could have, yes. But it's funny that...
I feel like let's grab a script.
Let's grab a script. Do we have it? No, we don't have it. We'll print it out.
Yeah, we have to go look.
Okay, 311. It's 311.
1,000%.
Okay, good, fine.
You guys are
It's funny, though, that was in response to the picture of Nancy Pelosi opposite Trump and everybody in standing. And it's such a, regardless of your political views, but hopefully you're on the right side of history. And by right side, I mean the left side. No, I find it such an interesting time right now and such an exciting and challenging time to write. But it should be a time, and often is for us, of despair. But all I see is the old guard looking ashamed and sitting down while women I know are standing up and yelling. And I feel like, God, I feel like what an incredible time in history, because all I see is like those women are not sitting down again. Do you know what I mean? And just that realization that the old guard is dying and fabulous people in pink couture and, you know, old school dresses can take over. It doesn't matter. So I have hope. I have hope. So I hope that that's in the writing too for everybody. Yeah.
So when I was prepping for this panel, I went and looked up some statistics, because that's what I do. In 2019, 45% of major characters across TV networks were women. And we're blessed to have a lot of them on Winona Earp, okay? So as actors, throughout your career, because we have some careers longer than others, and do you find that finding those female roles are getting easier?
Yes and no.
You have a way with words, Nat.
What? It's clear. It's clear.
Or is it the definition of fake? No, I think I had a really cool conversation with an actress who's a woman of color, and she, like, a lot of her complaints as an actor were similar to mine, but just like for different reasons. But actually, she's also a female, so she could add more to my list. But she made a really great point, which was that a lot of times it feels still sometimes like we're set up for failure. So we go in for an audition, and they're like, oh, it's really popular right now we need some women and we need some color. But they didn't write it for us that way. Mm-hmm. So then I'm going in, I literally went in for an audition that was written for a guy, and they didn't change anything. And in a way, cool. In another way, fuck me. That you're setting me up now to, like, you've done no thoughts. You've done no work on your end. Sorry, I'm highly medicated. I don't know what I'm saying. But I was like, you've done no work. So now you just expect me to come in and do some magic on your script where it's like, you know, and they were her words that I'm borrowing, but she was like, you set us up for failure when you just say, like, it's some white dude, and now, but you're bringing me in, and I'm in her case, like, and I'm a black woman, like, and I feel like shit when I leave, because you set me up to fail, and so I think there's definitely, and obviously I'm not talking about our show here, because I think, but when I in the rooms for certain auditions, you sort of can tell when they're trying to tick boxes.
Yeah.
And that feels gross. Just 'cause we can't do our best work that way. So I think yes and no. I think it is changing. People are
Vindication.
You're right. You are right. Things are changing, but it's still, like we're in a weird transition where it's not quite. We're not quite there.
Do you think you'll ever feel like we're going to be there in our careers? Like, do you think in our working
Well, let's
lifetime,
fucking
us on
write
this
shit.
panel,
Yes.
I just have days sometimes where I'm like, oh wow, we've progressed so much, and then I have days like that where I go,
Yeah.
God, are we still
But
making muffins?
Don't
like,
you feel like?
God.
First of all, what is
Nothing wrong with
making
making muffins. It's just I don't want to do it like in every scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I maybe don't work on that show because that sounds awful.
Sorry, I guess I mean that it can feel, yes and no, it can feel, yeah, she is the same, she totally is. That some days, and I think it's the people you surround yourself with too.
Yeah.
I think we are so fortunate to be in like this group, and we all sort of consciously surround ourselves with those types of people. And then sometimes I step outside and go, oh my God, we have still so far to go.
Yeah.
So it's good to have those little checks, step out and go, okay, like it's lovely to return to the bubble, but let's like push the bubble out together. And yeah, just, I added nothing, I concur.
Well, I mean, I guess I would say yes and no and no. Because I feel like we really now more than ever have to make sure we create our own narrative in this business. It is a very interesting time. I am much longer in the tooth than the other ladies up here. You guys are too young to even get that joke. God. Well, the industry has changed big time. But, I got an ingenue role at 34, which was not heard of, but I did. And so I finished law school when I turned 40 and had babies and then came back to the industry like, okay, I'm ready. And so, oh my God.
That's okay. That's okay. She's okay. She's okay. Yeah. Mom's with her. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You got it.
Okay.
No worries.
Don't be
Yeah,
silly.
it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. She's on sick day. She has a medical.
Yeah. Okay, obviously they know what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mom's on it. Go ahead.
You want to go? Okay.
No worries.
sure.
It's okay, Stacey. Don't worry about it. Yeah. She's honestly fine.
Okay.
Or she's being taken care of.
She's being taken
Okay.
care of. Okay. Well, I think we should move on.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
Yes. 40-year-old ingenue, Anna Silk, though.
Anyway, I think that it's important to change the narrative. And I see it in material that I audition for now. Definitely is changing.
Good. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
Natalie. Melanie said, she was joking about you being many, many words, but one of my questions actually in here was if Willa were going to do a TED Talk, what do you think the topic would be on?
Oh gosh. All the uses of coconut oil?
I feel like you could nail like a how to survive sibling rivalry.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like you didn't survive it.
But I
like-
didn't.
So but like now maybe you can now knowing what you know. I don't know.
How to befriend a squid?
But you didn't do that.
How do you know?
Thought it killed you. I thought
We don't know that, though.
You killed me.
What are you doing? Oh, I did. I did, and I'm sorry for that.
I forgive you.
Thank you. That's a great TED Talk.
Coconut oil and squids. I would expect nothing less from Willa. But what about Kevin? What kind of TED Talk do you think Kevin would give us all? Okay, how about Bo?
How to take a cold shower? I don't know. I have to think of the Kevin one. I have to think on that.
We're here for Bo too,
Okay.
so it's okay. Quick show of hands, how many of y'all guys were Lost Girl fans? There you go.
You're all future Lost Girl fans, even if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Okay, so as we close out, I just wanted to see if you guys had, this year or throughout the course of your life, a piece of advice that someone has given you that's stuck with you, or that you've given that you think you'd like to send out into the world. All the advices, right?
All right, I'll go. What? Oh shit. Okay. Well, one of them was, in our profession, we get a lot of notes, which is a nice way of saying criticism. And they really are just notes, but you can often take them as criticism because all we have to offer is all we have. So if you don't like it, then that sucks. So one person said to me, for every note that you get that feels negative, give yourself a positive one. And that actually, like, once you start to do that, it trains your brain to automatically find things you did, even if it's small. Like sometimes, honestly, at an audition, let's say, I don't feel prepared, but I did the best I could, and I just showed up. And sometimes that was the scariest thing I could have done, and maybe the audition was awful, but I showed up, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I think it is important to value those things, because nobody else will always be there to give you what you need to hear. You have to be able to do that for yourself. And I have another one, but I forget, so somebody else go.
Lately, I've been practicing staying curious. I think it's helping me to be more present in every way, just staying curious about everything. And I feel that it's led me to new passions and new interests. So, yeah, staying curious.
Good one.
Awesome. There's no order, it's fine.
Okay, mine, I have 3, but they're going to be fast. Number 1, I cannot emphasize this enough. Shave your legs with conditioner. Listen, guys, listen. Don't buy expensive shaving cream. The strippers know what they're doing. Just use those hotel conditioners. You're going to feel like butter. It's going to be amazing. Number 2, I travel a lot. The journey is hard. Check your bag. Bring what you want. Like, I just don't, yes, right? Like, I don't know, man. I don't want to be in that big a rush. I don't want to struggle with my luggage on the plane. Just like both metaphorically and literally, I want to relax and I want to bring what I want and have things that excite me along the way. And the third one in particular is for women. Say yes and figure it out later. That's the biggest one. Like, right? Like, lots of men just assume they can figure it out on the way, whether they're directing, producing, or running a country. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they do not. But listen, if someone is asking you to try something or do something or take a shot, it's because they believe in you. Scare yourself, say yes, and figure it out along the way. I have done that at literally every single job I've ever had. And sometimes it's worked and sometimes it has. So say yes, say yes.
The first thing I would say is get out into nature. We are so disconnected from our earth, and one of the best ways to do that is to just get right into the mud and take your shoes off and like just walk in the woods. It's one of the best medicines, I think, ever, and it also gives you a new sense of why we need to fight for our planet. Because, yeah, sorry. Yeah, because it's, okay. Yeah, we can afford for the planet. Woo! And the other thing that I have been sort of working on recently is patience. I feel like I have done so much work, and, you know, thanks to this show, really, it gave me the strength to do that work in order to figure out who I was, in order to get some of the answers that I felt so far away from for so long, so much of my life. Woo. And then you sometimes like it comes flooding in like crazy, and then suddenly it's like I got to apply all this stuff to my life because I get it now, you know. And then I think I've realized that that's not always realistic. You know, we want to achieve things so quickly all the time, and we're so impatient, and the world that we live in makes us feel like we constantly have to have things done yesterday, you know, like we're constantly rushing. And so one of the best things that I've tried to sort of connect with recently is just like patience, and one day at a time, and one thing at a time, and it just sort of takes the pressure off a little bit. And if you marry that with going out in nature, you have a winning combination. Yeah.
I was thinking about, the first thing that came to mind was right at the beginning when Winona Earp came out, we were all getting together, and I remember Emily saying, this was great though. It was
shave your legs with conditioner.
Shave
You're like,
your
I
legs.
get it.
I actually remember when you said that on a panel years ago, and I've done it ever since. That's very true. No, Emily said, get ready because there'll be so many wonderful things that will come with this experience, and then there will be a few negative things that may come up, and it will be like a black dot in the middle of a white page.
I remember that.
And it will be the only thing you can look at is the black dot, and you have to focus on the white page. And I think just that no one else is thinking about us as much as we think they're thinking about us. And just the freedom of, not in an unkind way, not in a disrespectful way, but not caring what other people think seems so basic. But everyone's got so much of their own shit going on that it's usually 95% of the time, unless you've done something horrible, not about you. And it's not your fault and not your problem. And I think just the freedom of releasing yourself from having to cater to other people's expectations and just serve your own self is an incredibly valuable thing to keep in mind. So that's been a huge thing for me, especially the past couple of years, and the freedom that I've found with just shifting that in my brain from people pleaser to just sort of thinking about what makes me feel good, as long as I'm being kind and generous and respectful of the people around me, has been a huge weight released.
I love you.
I'm just going to start talking and hope it makes sense, but I feel like the thing that I've discovered in recent years for myself is to know that exactly where you are at any given moment is the best place to be. And so I feel like for so many years, especially as an actor, I tried to I knew I had this like checklist of things I had to shift, and then I would be ready for whatever it was. And I feel like we all do that in our lives. We want to do this and this to feel ready or feel valued, I guess. But where you are right at this moment, however you feel, if you feel great, if you feel terrible, whatever it is, it's the right place, and just be in it, and then go from there. So start with where you're at. It's the most powerful place, and then things will shift. They'll shift big time. So that's what I would say.
Melanie, since you came in late, I didn't get to introduce you, so I'm going to send you off with this. No one, and I mean no one, could have carried our show with the grace and humor and courage of our leading lady. You constantly remind us all to keep fighting our own demons, even when it's hard. So thank you, Melanie.